Hey, sorry for the lack of videos lately. I've had a hell of a few weeks, let's just say that. Anyways, I thought I would do something with some photon. There's always a lot of questions about photon. I'm no master of photon, don't get me wrong. But I figured we could probably do something. So this is a blank scene, and I imported these guys just so I can have models to play with here. Not really important. Anyways, if you get obviously the actions, the PlayMaker 2 pun actions, and you have PlayMaker or pun installed, we have a way to load up things such as there's this prefab, and this guy allows PlayMaker to talk with pun. So what do we do? Well, let's create a UI, and in the UI I am going to put it to scale with screen, and I am going to add in some buttons. We will add in button there, and we'll add in let's start with that. So we have a button called connect to master. So in here, actually I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to make this thing, and it's going to be my little manager. And I almost wonder if I should put it on that. Probably. Let's just put it on this. So we need essentially a UI button click event, and it's going to be that button, and if that button gets hit, we want to connect to master. Pretty simple so far, pretty straightforward. So what is connecting to master? It is under photon, connect using settings, just like that. So I mean, even just that as is, it will run a connection. Now when that connects to the master, we want something to happen, and the way photon's going to communicate is with custom events. So we're going to say, okay, on connected to master. Okay, so if we get on connected to master, we want this guy, I'm just going to deactivate him so we don't see him anymore, but we want another button, and he's going to actually start deactivated, and we want this one to actually activate. So let's make sure we place him somewhere. I'm going to stick him right over top. And he will be called join random. So now we deactivate him and we activate him. So let's do another button click. So the button we want is this guy, and this is going to be a join random. And of course, that will be, again, down in Photon, we are going to join random room. Oh, we want this button click up here. Oh, we already have that. We don't need that. Okay, so we've joined a room. Now, if this fails, because there are no rooms, we will get an event, such as, and there's two of these, so make sure, because you have join room failed, and you have join random room failed, right? So now, like even if I just hit play like that, we should see we have our connect to master. I hit it, we've connected, our button now says join random. So we hit join random, it fails, which is normal, right? Because there is no rooms to join. So we want to create a room. I'm going to use create room advance. And we're also going to give it a name. We're going to call it room name. So if we try to join a random room, it'll fail, and we'll create a room, and then we'll just go with that. All right, then, okay, and room name. So if we add in a, say, an input field, there it is. And let's put the, I don't know, the input field over here. We'll call this our room name or something. And I'm actually going to have that deactivated. So over here, I'm going to activate it. But the other thing I want is to be interactable is false. And then on this guy itself, I am going to get text. So the text is going to be our, we'll just call it string, every frame, and string get string length. So string, and this is the length, and that's going to be every frame, and compare. So if, say, length is, we'll say 3. If it's greater, it's good. And I'm going to copy that whole state, put it over here. But over here, we're going to say if it's less, it's bad. And get rid of that good. And what we're going to do here is with that input field, UI input get is interactable. No, we want to set is interactable. as false. Copy and paste up here. So if it's over here, it is interactable. Over here, it's not. All right, so what that will do, as you see, like we'll connect to the master. It says join random. Our input field didn't pop up. And nope, we messed that up. And by we, I mean me. All right, so let's fix that. So the thing we want to make interactive is that button, not the text. That would be very odd. All right, so now let's go into here. All right, so that button deactivates, that one activates, input field activates. Okay. Now we have connect to master, and I have him starting and active. That's no good. So more or less, see how join room, I can't click it, but if I start typing things, all of a sudden now I can. But if I start deleting things, I can't. So this forces them to have a room name that is at least three letters long, at least. So why did we do that? Because now if we want to get a room, we can now, I'm just going to take the input field text, store it into room name, put it above that. So now we can create a room here with that room name. So I'm going to finish that one off and go down here. So what we're going to do is master. So if we are the master, then we get is master. And if that's the case, then we want to make sure that we are synced, and we're going to load a level. And we'll call this one level, no, how about we call it play? There we go. Now obviously it doesn't exist yet, so let's go into build settings. Let's get rid of those. Let's add this one. Oh, I haven't saved it yet. Gotta save it. So let's save as main title. Okay, so let's save that, go into a new scene, and I'm just going to save this one as play. Go into build settings and let's add that one. Okay, so now we have at least that. And we want only the master to actually load the level, and make sure that's above that, or else every client will be loading the level and the level will reload, and then logic fires over again, and it's not good. Alright, so that's on join room fail. What happens if we do join a room? Well, if we are actually able to join a room, then I don't think we actually have to do anything. It should load, because the master is loading this automatically. So let's just test that real quick. So we hit that. Oh, we get a name. We hit that. It joins. What is our proxy doing? So we have joined a room. Okay, so yes, this. Let's move him over there too, so he has to run through that same logic. Okay, let's try that again. So we've typed in a name, we get that, we hit play, we've loaded. We're now in another scene. Alright, cool. Let's open up that scene. Save this one. Let's get rid of the camera. Now for Photon, you need to have a resource folder. Now I've already made a player, but you know what, I'm just going to delete him, and we're going to remake one. So I'm going to grab, say this person here, and we have apparently some messed up colors. So let's just grab all of those and just dump a material on them, call them good. One of the things we're going to want is this. I'm going to put that in. This is so that shortly I can show you how we can equip a weapon on one of the players and it shows on the other players. I guess it really doesn't matter how this is lined up. It's really not the intent. But okay, there's our sword. I'm just going to deactivate that. So the other thing we need is, this person needs a camera. And I'm just going to put it out like this. I'm going to deactivate that. And I'm going to put an FSM on this person. And they need a is mine. So if I don't need to do that. Don't need to use a bool. We have an event. So if this is mine, I'm going to take this camera and I'm going to activate it because we need a camera. Alright, the other thing I want to do is, let's get axis vector, and I'm just going to store a vector called v character controller simple move. Let's move v at a speed of 4 and call that good. So this will be our move. That's probably good for now. So the other thing this thing needs is, obviously we need to sync things through. Now, I mean, I can sync the animator. I don't have any animations in there, so it's not a big deal. So we need to sync our transform. And this thing obviously needs a photon view. I believe being PlayMaker, it needs a PlayMaker photon view. Alright, so that, now I'm going to change it and call that player. Take it, drag it over, and dump it in our resource folder, original prefab, and be gone. So in here, I am going to, actually, you know what? I wonder if this would probably be easier if I did this in the main title. Because this guy is a singleton. So with that said, man, well no, because I have to time everything. I don't really feel like doing that. Let's just go back over here. And let's add an FSM. And you know what I'm going to do? To sync this, I am going to broadcast. And it's going to be called create. And if we get a create, let's create. Oh, that's not how we want to do it at all. Oh, pun instantiate. That's what we need. We need that player. And we'll use this manager as the spawn point. So let's make sure he's kicking around 0, then. And let's give there a little bit of a terrain so we can at least see. Back to our main menu. So now we go and we have a player. Now for some reason I can't move them. Because I never bothered putting a character controller on them. Well, that was silly of me now, wasn't it? There we go. So there we go. Now we can move. Okay, so let's just test that in an actual little build here. Let's just go up here and go build and run. Let's see if everything is working as should be intended. So we have this guy and we have this guy. So let's say he connects to master and he can have room broken. Join random. He's got some issues there. And he can connect to master. Let's see if he happens to join the same name. Oh, we have an issue. He did not like that loading. So let's see. Because he is not master. Alright, this one's still running. What happens if we put a different name in? Get is master. Well, he's not the master. We know that. So he needs, what does he need? He needs to, maybe I should throw this up here. There we go. Well, we had some failures there, but apparently I was on the right track. So let's build and run again. Apparently I forgot one of the proxies. Not a big deal. So he connects. I mean, technically it's kind of set up a little screwy right now because this guy's word doesn't actually do anything for him when he's joining. So there is he's for some reason has 2. So let's fix that. So let's go over here and do it wants another proxy. That one. And let's just go over here. You know what? No, I mean that should. Oh, you know what? How about this? All buffered. Let's put that on. The old buffered is a way to have a message that is kind of kept into memory. So if someone else joins, it fires all the same messages off on them as well, which is why I'm using it right now. Oop, don't want to get that. So that guy can connect to master. Let's give him a name. This guy can connect to master. So here we have him. And here we have him. There we go. We have 2 guys running. And they can see each other. And apparently they fall off the map. So, first thing, let's just fix this because it's annoying. My little collider I have here is obviously just weird. So, okay, so this is one of those things that is, I don't know. I think a lot of people kind of fight with this. Is this guy here? Okay, so if we have another FSM, I'm not gonna even bother naming it. So let's just make a state, and I'm gonna actually just activate that game object in that state. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Let's. I can't use a mouse input because I'm running 2 systems on the same mouse, so that's not going to work for me. But what I can do is do a trigger enter. So on trigger enter, when we enter a trigger, and normally this would be done, I don't know, you're buying something or you get loot or you hit a button and you equipped it. Just with me, with running two things, it's a little difficult to show that. So we're going to do it this way because it's a lot easier to demonstrate it. We need to get our photon. Where is our photon? We need to get, we could use our ID. Should be able to. So if we get our ID on a trigger enter, so we have our ID. We now int to string ID, and this will be our string ID, and then we can broadcast I'll do all buffered again, and we are going to have another event. Let's call this equip. We're going to broadcast that, and we're going to send the string data of our string ID. So over here, let's move him down here. Don't want to actually activate it quite yet. So we want to get this same thing, and now we want to string to int. We're going to take we have to so we can just take the string ID. Actually, for demonstrations, I'll do a different number. And we're going to get our ID, and we're going to convert string ID 2 to another ID. So essentially we're getting our ID and the ID that's coming from the trigger. And then I'm going to int compare. If these two are equal, then we'll do that. All right, so that means we need a trigger. So let's build a big old trigger. And mark him as trigger. I'll keep the mesh view on there so we can see it. All right, so let's go to the main title. Let's hit play. Let's test this part. All right, so we're sitting here, life is good. We've hit it, we have our sword in our hand. Okay, so that's technically working. How much time do we got? Oh, we're doing pretty good. So let's go connect the master. And this guy can connect. So, we have that double thing happening again. I'll fix that. So, okay, we have two people. So if how are we gonna show this better? All right, there we go. So let's take this person and move them into the trigger. Oh, they got the sword. They got the sword, this person didn't. They got the sword. Look at that, eh? Pretty fancy. So that's kind of how we do that portion. Now I gotta fix the whole player thing. So there's I've done more work without PlayMaker on Pun. So there's a few things that are a little odd almost with PlayMaker in the ways of Pun, but that's okay. That's okay. So let's go over here. I wonder if I should just do a is mine. Think that would work? Let's check. All right, let's just check that real quick. Alright, so here we go. Oh yeah, so there's no cameras rendering. So that is mine thing was not a good thing. They did not like that. Yeah, see, like this one's still here. Like it's it's a do not destroy on load thing. Which is why I was debating on using it. Because if you can, I don't know, tap into this, run some more events, you can just create like an object for each player joining, and might be a little easier. But I'm not too worried about that right now. I'm just kind of trying to get things going a little bit. So I'm just going to put that back over there and delete him for now. So don't worry about that later. I'll find a good solution for that after. But I think for now, it's probably a pretty good start for Pun. I'm going to have to bring in some animations so we can see them move around and maybe, I don't know, do a gamer tag on them and get them to fire damage off to each other and kill each other and stuff like that. I think that would be pretty good. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next video.